Welcome back to the Perfect Season podcast. We are getting set to preview our week two or give you our week two NFL predictions for all 16 games. I'm Alex Frank, better known as Frankie. Anthony Fiorentino joining me as always. We are getting set for what should be another great week of NFL action, starting with an AFC West showdown tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football. Its debut on Amazon Prime Video. The Los Angeles Chargers at the Kansas City Chiefs. Anthony, who you got in this showdown?
Give me Kansas City. They're just, from what I've seen, they're too dominant. LA's overrated.
Well, we'll see if the Chargers are overrated. That still might be a rational premise. But six-time AFC West champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes looked every bit his old self on Sunday in Arizona. I think the Chargers playing without Keenan Allen. I think they're going to be fine because the three receivers who caught touchdowns for them last week were not named Keenan Allen or Mike Williams. So there is that, or Jalen Guyton for that matter. I'm going to roll with the Chiefs though at home in Arrowhead, 31-24.
I'm going to say Chiefs 31. No, give me 37. 37
Ooh.
17.
Okay. Whoa. All right. Let's move on to Fox's number one game this week. It's Tampa Bay and New Orleans, an NFC South rivalry, first place on the line in the division. That game in New Orleans. Anthony, you're a big Tampa Bay fan. Who do you got in this one?
I'm still sticking with Tampa. This is our year we beat them in New Orleans. I hate the Saints. I think everyone who's not a fan of them or like a fan of their team, I think they hate the Saints as their most hated team. No one likes their fans. No one likes their players besides Saints fans themselves. So give me Tampa 24, Saints 17.
Harsh accusations. Here's the stat to know in this game for those of you listening. The Saints are 4-0 in the regular season against the Buccaneers since Tom Brady joined Tampa Bay back in March of 2020. Tampa Bay does have one win in the playoffs, but in this game, I'm going to ride with history and pick the Saints to win this game 27-20 and take over first place in the NFC South. Let's move to the number two game of the week on CBS. This game coming at 1 o'clock. The Patriots and the Steelers. The Steelers pulling out a victory last week at Cincinnati. The Patriots struggling mightily on the road at the Dolphins. Anthony, what do you think of this game?
I'm just gonna go with what I believe, and I'm going with the Steelers. If they have everything rolling and everything, I'm gonna go with them. It pains me to say that, but if you're rolling and everything's clicking, I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh, and I'm going with Pittsburgh because I did read Mac Jones is hurt. There's a lower back problem, but he should be fine. And honestly, though, I'm going Pittsburgh.
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh as well. I think it's a new era. I think, in the old Ben Roethlisberger led Steelers, they never could beat the Patriots. They were their kryptonite. But this time is different. I mean, Mac Jones, as you mentioned, Anthony, is banged up with the back injury sustained last week. I think Pittsburgh is the much better team. I expect them to win this game. I'll say it's going to be an ugly one. Give me 21-14. Steelers win and get to 2-0.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move to the game of the week on CBS 425. The Bengals and the Cowboys. The Cowboys without quarterback Dak Prescott, who sustained a thumb injury last week against Tampa Bay. Anthony, who do you got?
I'm going with the Bengals. They get a bounce back win. Dallas, being a Bucks fan watching that game, I think Dallas isn't all that. They're not all that. Even when Dak was in the game and everything, I still think they weren't all that. Tampa led them to 3 points, or held them, I should say. They held them to 3 points. What else do you expect?
Yeah, the Cowboys offense outside of the first possession on Sunday night did not look good at all. I think what you're going to see in this game is a very businessman-like performance from the Bengals. They're going to be focused. They're going to bounce back. They're going to, this is going to be a culture game for them. They should have won last week. They shouldn't have, even gotten to overtime. I think the Bengals pull this one out. It's going to be close though, just because of the Bengals' history against backup quarterbacks. I'll say they get it done though, 24-17. Let's move to Sunday Night Football, an NFC North rivalry, the Bears and the Packers. Chicago surprising a lot of people last week with a win over San Francisco. Green Bay with a disappointing loss to Minnesota. Anthony, will the Packers bounce back in this
I
game on Sunday
think
night?
I think they do bounce back. They bounce back, but It's a struggling win.
I agree with you there. I think the
They're
Bears are
they're
going to get the
gonna
win.
they're going to struggle. I'll just point blank say that. They're
Chicago
going
gave
to
them two. Yeah, Chicago gave them two difficult games last year. I expect more of the same this time around. I think Green Bay does pull it out though, but it's going to be a really close one. I'll say 24-17 there too.
I'm gonna
Let's move
say
to the
I'm gonna say
go ahead.
17
17 what?
17-10.
Okay, so low scoring game there. Wouldn't shock me if that ended up happening. Let's move to Monday Night Football game 1, Tennessee and Buffalo. These two teams played a classic last year on Monday Night Football in Tennessee. This game is up in Buffalo. Anthony, who do you have in this game?
Buffalo in a landslide.
I agree with you. I think the Bills are going to come out their first home game since they destroyed New England in the playoffs last year. That fan base, that crowd is going to be absolutely electric. Josh Allen's going to come out and lead that offense. It's just going to be a torpedoing from the start. Buffalo wins in an avalanche, 48-21. Let's move to the game that I'm most excited for this week, Game 2 of Monday Night Football. The Vikings and the Eagles from Philadelphia. Kirk Cousins, Monday Night Football history, very spotty. Anthony, does that turn around this time?
I think Minnesota just from what I saw last week, they're a good team. They're a really good team. Give me Minnesota 24-17.
I agree with you. I don't think Philadelphia's defense is all that good. They have some leaks. I think Minnesota is very good offensively. I think they also have a very solid defense that's not getting talked about enough. I think they give Jalen Hurts some problems, and I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I'll say Minnesota gets it done 34-31. All right. So Alex, unfortunately, couldn't hop on the call with us, but he's got Kansas City, Pittsburgh, the Saints in an upset, the Bengals, Packers, Bills, and the Vikings. So we all three think Minnesota will get it done on the road. Let's move to the other games of the week. Let's start with the Dolphins and the Ravens. An interesting game in Baltimore between a pair of 1-0 teams. Anthony, what do you think about this game?
Give me Miami. I I think they're a much more improved team. And yeah, Baltimore beat the Jets. I was expecting a little bit of a high scoring game with that. I was expecting a little more points from Baltimore, but I like what I saw with Miami. Give me Miami.
Yeah, this is a hard game for me to pick, but at the end of the day, if I have my Um, yeah, this is a hard game for me to pick because I think both teams are similar. But I'm going to take the Ravens. I just don't trust Miami on the road. I think the Ravens home opener, they're going to have the crowd behind them. And I think Lamar Jackson looked really good last week. Now it's against the Jets, so how much can you really take away from that game? But I'm going to take the Ravens in a really close one. I'll say 28-21. Let's move to the next game on the schedule, the Jets and the Browns from Cleveland. The Browns winning their first season opener since 2004. Can they make it 2-0, Anthony?
Is it in New York?
It is in Cleveland.
It's in Cleveland. So you got your fans in Cleveland. I think it's going to be a sloppy game, both sides of the ball. I think sloppy. Give me the Jets. Jets in an upset.
The Jets in an upset. Look, I mean, any team can win on any given Sunday, but at the end of the day, the Cleveland Browns rushing attack last week was spectacular against Carolina. I expect more of the same this week. I think the Browns win this game. I'll say 24-10. They get it done against the Jets. Moving on now to an NFC matchup: the Commanders in Detroit to take on the Lions. Anthony, can the Lions finally break through and win a game this week?
They break through. When I was at work earlier, they had a Sports Center showing, and they were talking about how the Lions are actually favored in this matchup. Lions
Yeah.
are favored. That's a shocking statement, I would say. The Lions are favored for a first time in a long time.
How shocking is it? It's the first time they're favorites in 25 games. They were underdogs in their previous 24. But until I see the Lions win a game, Anthony, I can't pick them to win. So I'm going to
I
take the
think
Commanders in this game 27-24.
I'm gonna say 28-21.
28-21. All
Yeah.
right, let's move on to the next game on the schedule. This is a matchup that was a how would I describe this? Was a big development in Week 18 last year. The Colts and the Jaguars in Jacksonville. The Colts have lost the previous 8 meetings
In
in
Jacksonville,
Jacksonville in this rivalry. Anthony, are you going to make it 9 for the Jags?
they make it 9. I'd go off, speaking from what you said previously, going off history, make it 9 in a row.
Yep.
And as another reference, Clemson's going to make it 8 in a row against South Carolina.
Yep. I agree with you on the Jaguars. I think that the Colts falling behind 20-3 should be discussed as a talking point coming in this game. I think Jacksonville played really well on Sunday in
You see
Washington.
a
They
much
just
more improved team from
Yeah,
Jacksonville.
a much more, didn't come away with the win, but definitely showed some improvement. I say Jacksonville gets this done. I'll say 26-17. They get it
Okay.
done. Let's move on to the Panthers at the Giants. Anthony, are you going to buy into the Giants after their upset victory in Tennessee?
You know, I'm thinking about it. Thinking about it. It was an upset win, yes. Room for improvement in some areas of the ball, but all in all, I'm buying in.
Yeah.
Giants start 2-0.
Yeah, I want to buy into the Giants, but I'm not quite there yet. I just don't know how, what that week 1 win is going to do for them. If they win this week, then I'll maybe consider buying in, but I'm going to take Carolina in this one. I'm not ready to jump on the Giants train yet. I'll say Carolina ekes one out 17-14. Let's now go to a later game on Fox. The reigning Super Bowl champion Rams looking to bounce back from opening night as they take on the Falcons, looking to bounce back from a blown 16-point fourth quarter lead. Anthony, what do you have here?
You know, I do see the Rams bouncing back, but I think they're going to struggle. I do. I really honestly think they will struggle a little bit, but it's going to be a 21-20 victory.
Wow. By the minimum. I just think that, all of the pageantry of opening night and raising the banner and celebrating with Andrew Whitworth on hand. And look, I just think
And
it was a bad
Odell.
night for the Rams. The game was still tied at the half. Matthew Stafford didn't have a great game. It was his first game, after dealing with elbow issues in training camp. I think the Rams bounce back in a big way this week. I say they get it done 31-17, and all will be right in Los Angeles. Let's now move to an NFC West divisional matchup. San Francisco hosting Seattle. Anthony, this matchup is interesting to me. I don't think it's going to be an easy win for San Francisco. Not an ideal opponent to play on a quote unquote bounce back week. Am I right?
I would say that because, you know, going into the season, I had Seattle starting 0-1. I seriously did. And the role I thought San Francisco would be more dominant in that game against the Bears, aka the Water Bowl. But,
Yeah.
give me San Francisco bouncing back 21-10.
This game's hard for me because I don't really
I
know if
think
San
I think
Francisco is as bad as they showed in Chicago. That was a horrendously played game in terms of
I
the
think
weather.
I
And
think
then
Geno
you look
Smith had one good game.
Yeah, and you look at Seattle, that was an emotional night for both teams,
Yeah.
and Seattle pulls one out. They really shouldn't have won the game. I think you're going to see that. So I'm going to take San Francisco. I thought about taking the upset in this game, but I'm going to roll with the Niners. I think it's going to be a very close game, though. I'll say 20-17. San Francisco just manages to pull this one out. Let's now move to, speaking of the Broncos and Russell Wilson, they're back home this week to take
Broncos
on the
country.
Texans, looking for their first win of the season. Anthony, do they get that first win?
You know, I say this for all teams. It is hard to go into Denver and win. Point blank is. Point blank hard to go into Denver and get that victory because Denver is Mile High Stadium. Mile High, point blank said and done. So, I give Denver their first win.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to them too. I just don't see Houston, being able to go in there and win. I think they can make it competitive. Houston, I think we
Houston looked
forget
good.
outside of a 40 to nothing loss at Buffalo last year in week 4, they were very competitive through the first half of the season, even though they didn't win many games. Like, they were competitive in a lot of games. They beat Jacksonville. They took, gave Cleveland all they can handle. They, uh, went toe to toe with Carolina for the first half on Thursday Night Football, and then, um, you made New England had to come back from down big in week 5. But I think Denver does win this week. I think they will win by a score of 31 to I'll say 31 to 20. I think Houston
Okay.
will put up points, but I think Denver will pull it out.
Houston's gonna shock some people. Houston,
I can see why you think that. That remains to be seen. All right, Anthony, your second team. You're the Raiders looking to bounce back this week as they take on the Arizona Cardinals. Pivotal game for both teams at 0-1. Who do you have?
give me Vegas. Bounce back win.
Bounce back win for the Raiders. I think so too. I just can't buy into
I
Arizona.
just think that game they always struggle. They always struggle
Yeah,
in LA. I will tell you that. Being a
I
Raider
think
fan,
they're.
they
Yeah,
struggle in LA. They typically lose week ones. It's the Raiders. What else can you expect? But they bounce back.
I think Derek Carr has a big bounce back game. I think that the Raiders defense will make an impact on this game. I think Max Crosby and Chandler Jones will make an impact. Or is it? Yeah, Chandler
Yeah.
Jones. I see the Raiders pulling this one out, and I think it's going to be a little bit of a separation in this game. I'll say 34 to 20. I'll say 34-24. Raiders
Okay.
get it done. Alex, for his picks in the other 9 games that we just went over, he has the Steelers, Giants, Browns, Colts, Dolphins, Lions, 49ers, Rams, Raiders, and the Broncos. Or that was 10 games, but still,
Yeah.
you get the point. All right. Great week of football coming up.
Another great
Still
week of
waiting to hear
college.
back from Alex on what our records were last week. I know personally I went 10-6. I'm going to count the tie as a loss just because ties are stupid.
Ties lost. Change the rules
Yeah,
to college.
exactly.
Games should not
Or just
end in a tie.
or just get rid of the tie and then go from there. All right, that's going to do it for us today. Perfect Season Podcast. Thanks for listening to our Week 2 predictions. We'll be back next week to recap Week 2 and look ahead to Week 3. Thank you for listening. As always, alongside Anthony Fiorentino and for Alex Sardinas, I'm Alex Frank, better known as Frankie. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week, and have a great weekend of football. We'll be back with you next Wednesday to recap it all.